People, Deluded, I'm back again. A bit of an irrelevant video in relation to Premier League, Arsenal, whatever. At the base of it, you know I love youth football, you know I love youth prospects, you know I love young footballers. And obviously I'm going to do a couple of vids because the FA Cup throws up a lot of young players creeping about and whatnot as teams rotate, and I think it's disrespectful to the FA Cup, but you have to recognise that other teams have different objectives for this season, and not many teams are focusing solely on the FA Cup. Like you look at Liverpool, obviously as good as they are, their squad is stretched, so they had to play, which I'd describe as probably their C or D team against Everton, and they still put in a good performance. A number of the young players did well. Is it Nico Williams at right back? Obviously a long way away from even possibly deputising for Trent Arnold, but you never know. If you show Klopp that you can be utilised, you never know what can happen for you. Obviously you've got the Harvey Elliott's. I'm always singing Curtis Jones's praises. I think he's a great player either on the left wing or in the 10 position. Like yesterday, scored a lovely goal. Potentially Pickford could do better, but that's what he's capable of. And I think he's a real player, and I think he's got a good attitude. I think with Klopp, he can work together, and you never know where he could be like in the next couple of years. Obviously, minutes are currency, and I've been saying I believe he's at that stage. He's got to play first team. Like you see him at youth level for Liverpool, just destroying teams. I forgot his name as well, but that young lad for Norwich, who I've seen a decent amount of, forgot his name, but he scored a hat-trick for them, and I believe it's in the Athletic. They were chasing him for a couple of years, and it's a if you follow the Athletic, go on there, because there's a good couple articles, people, in relation to just stuff in general, but it was a detailed report how they scouted this lad for ages, how there was interest from other teams and whatnot, but it is what it is. Now, for me, yeah, I love youth footballers, but the only exception I'll make to the FA Cup is FORSON. Now, he didn't play for Manchester United's first team. In fact, he's 15 years of age or so he's a long way away from that. But he's been linked with Arsenal before, and it's easy to see why. It'd be lovely to bring him because I believe he's actually played for West Ham and Spurs prior to going to United in his short career. So he'll always be one to get over there. But you can see why he's been linked with a couple of clubs and why he's actually at Manchester United. He can play a couple of roles. From what I see, I believe he's most comfortable as an attacking midfielder. Very good close control, very good vision for a pass, link-up players there. Decent eye for goal. He's one of them. He can play in tight spaces. He's really good balance as well. Not the biggest, but decent balance. He shields the ball well. Got a lot of time for Amari, man. I think he's a decent player, a very intelligent player. So there's him. A player I've seen a bit of for Crystal Palace, and I think he's made technically 2 appearances for the first team now, is Brendan Perrick. I can't say his name. He can play on either flank. He's very positive, and you saw that in his cameo in the FA Cup, more or less, people, in the recent game. Really like him. Those who watch him more on a close eye and whatnot, or under the microscope a bit, say they believe him and is it Brendan Alvedo? I've said his name before in a video. One of these two will be the ones to break through Palace's academy. Now, Palace have got a lot of good players, man. They've got Nia Kirby as well, who I'm a big fan of and was on the bench for the FA Cup as well. I think Brandon's got all the potential to do what he wants, and what I like about him, you can tell he's got a good attitude. You can tell anytime he's stepped up in the level, he's always behaved like a novice, like a sponge, like he doesn't think he knows everything. He's good technically as well. First team, seeing him, probably as you expect, probably waiting for his personality to come out a bit more on the football field. But that's what you'd expect from an 18-year-old lad of sorts, people. Quick mention to Derby. You know Derby have got the good players, man. You saw Bogle right back cross the ball for one of their goals. And I think their goal, and he's someone I'd like to look off, to be fair with you, man. I'd like him at Arsenal. I think he can improve a lot, but I think when you consider Max Aarons, I would love him too, but he's all 30 million, and that I think Bogle will be a pretty penny, but it seems more attainable, and I think he's got potential to develop into a consistent right back for club and country long term if he keeps on working hard. Obviously, it was nice to see Morgan Whittaker get some minutes as well. At 23's level, they've obviously got Archie Brown. Sibley got some minutes for Derby. Derby have got some good players, man. They've got Knight, they've got the players I've said. They've got some really good players, man. Really and truly with you. And obviously, our young Nico Bielik's there. One player I was disappointed I didn't see any minutes of for West Brom is Rico Richards. Now, I like him a lot. He can play as a 10, he can play up front, he can play on either flanks. He's only 16 and he's on the bench, and he made his debut for the 23s in December, people. So it's been quite a rise. Arsenal have been linked with him before. He's had a lot of people look at him. For me, West Brom is the best place for his development. And West Brom, I'm sure they want to keep hold of some of their kids, man, because they lost Morgan Rogers, which I'd be livid about if I was a West Brom fan. Obviously, he went to City. It is what it is. But West Brom got a lovely academy. You lot know me. I love Nathan Ferguson, the centre half. They've got, Jamie Sula up front. They got Tulloch, they got Raheem Harper. West Brom got a couple good players, people, and obviously the objective is for them to be first team first and foremost. But if they can make profit, it is what it is. And I think Rico Richards is going to be a player, to be fair with you. He's only 16, so I'm not here to say he can do this, that and the other. But it's hard not to like him. The thing I like about him, he's very positive in everything he does. He plays with his head up. He tries to connect play and get things going and moving forward. He's left-footed as well. He's a good dribbler. Very confident penalty taker as well if required. One thing I like about him as well is because I think he looks like me at 16 years of age. I had the game roles and whatnot. I never had the footballing ability. And I definitely didn't have the attacking quality that he has. But he's it's so many reasons to like that young footballer. But I've been from afar and not religiously. I've been watching him and seeing what I can of him. And I wanted. That's why I tuned into the West Brom game. I wanted to see, obviously, him make his debut. It would have been quite the rise at 16 years of age, a reward for his good hard work and his family's hard work, going through the hardships of trying to enable their son or the person they're being a guardian to become a professional footballer. It's moments like that that make all the driving all up and down the country, driving to West Brom's training ground 3 times a week, 4 if there's a match at the weekend, worth it. I think he's got a lot of talent, and it's easy to see why a lot of the big boys allegedly have been looking at him and running a close eye over him, people. Like I said, you know me, I love youth football, so there'll probably be some other videos around this and whatnot. But yeah, man, 2020 started in a good year for some of these young players, and yeah, I guess it's just something I like. It's a bit irrelevant, but former Arsenal player Bailey Spencer-Adams started against Tranmere for Watford. I didn't watch the game to verify this, but former Arsenal player now at Brentford, Dominic Thompson, started for Brentford. Dan Crowley scored his first goal for Birmingham, people. So it's been quite a decent game, decent period for these players. Away from all of this sort of stuff, I've seen Univar's obviously gone. Univar, Hansen have obviously gone away with. And a couple of players gone off with Ajax for warm winter training. I think Univar's going to be a star, and I've watched him at many a youth tournament for club and country. It's a matter of time, in my opinion, for him. Lovely to see Greven back. Greven obviously a couple of weeks ago played in the Eredivisie and scored for Ajax. Who else am I missing out? It's a bit irrelevant talking about Birmingham, but you know me, I love Jude Bellingham. Adil Ayushe, a player I've made a couple of videos on and spoken about at PSG. His rise this season has been well. I think in the Coupe de la France he recently scored for PSG. So you know me, I love youth footballers, and what I love the most about young footballers is seeing their rise, like going from playing for youth in the youth games and whatnot to the first team. And sometimes it happens very quickly. It's a bit different, but even Highland, like as recently as let's say the closing months of last year, I was watching him playing the under-20s World Cup, people, and he's scoring 9 goals and whatnot, and now he's at Borussia Dortmund, people, for how much money? Obviously, you get what I mean with the how much money comment, but yeah, man, it is what it is. Like I said, I'll do more videos around this, but I thought, I don't know, I kind of went left and right with this video. I thought it's just an outlet for me to speak about youth players I've been looking at. And also Noni Madueke, I can never say his name, but former Spurs lad, now at PSV, scored a lovely goal in technically his professional debut for their second string reserve side. And I think he's a decent player as well, man. Really gutted if I was a Spurs fan to lose him, but it is what it is. More academies will keep losing players to abroad and whatnot, and just losing players in general, so it's not a criticism. But on that note, people, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking.